Hello, welcome to Indie Tutorials. My name is Guillermo and I would like to thank the patrons supporting this channel. Today we are going to look at adding the real-time battle mechanics for the Malbers Animal Controller. So let's take a look. We are going to do today. Let me select the enemy, and we can see in the combatant controller component, that we have HP of 18 points. So let's go fight it. Now he's going to engage with us, and you can see the health being reduced. Until we kill it and it is gone. So this is what we are going to do today. Let's get into it. The first thing I'm going to do is to open our hero prefab. I double click it, and here in this prefab from the animal controller we already have these triggers in the hand and the foot. So I'm going to start simple by clicking on the right hand trigger and add a damage dealer. Okay, so after adding the damage dealer, what we need to change here is to set the start type to trigger enter. Scroll down. We want the damage zone to check from children and from parent. Scroll down. We want to select the one-time damage. You may want to use this damage in field and in battles. And what is important here to add is the active tags. So for this scenario we are going to click on add activation tag, and let's do here, or call this one fist tag, something like that. Okay, so after doing that we are done with the damage dealer in this hand. Feel free to replicate this on the left hand and the right or the right foot. Okay, so let's go back to the main scene, and now let's continue. So the last time in the previous video I spent a lot of time creating the skeleton enemy, which was basically just copy the same settings from the 3D action demo from ORK Framework with the Helen hero and the jumper. And with that also I created some schematics already, so damage dealer, hit schematics, and this is just following the tutorials from the site as well. But anyways, if I go to the prefabs and the hero, we see that we are using the input, the joystick button 0, to trigger the attacks. So what we need to do is, from the ORK framework, so I will open the editor, the basic steps to achieve what we saw in the intro is to go to the base control in the input keys, and let's create a new input key, and let's call this one attack. In the input ID settings we need to change this one, the input origin, from none to key code. The positive key is going to be again joystick button 0. The reason I'm doing it like that is because I'm still figuring out how to bind Malbers input to ORK input to just have one of them controlling these actions. But for the time being, let's do it like so. So joystick button 0 here in the positive key, and let's save the changes. So now that we have, the reason that we needed a input key is because in the control maps we need to now take the default control map. Let's rename it and let's say hero control map, and down below what we can do to debug quickly if we are actually getting here is to add, for example, an audio clip, but let's do it later on. But anyways, what we need to do is this control map to be used also in field. Now we can click here in add control key, scroll down or click on this subsection, and the input key that we want this control map to listen to is the attack input key. And scrolling down, we can leave the action or the type to action and the action type to attack. We can leave that as it is. What we want to remove here or uncheck is during target selection, and let's save our changes. And before continuing, I always forgot is in the input keys, in the attack input key, if we go to the key settings, uncheck in fix update. I wish these settings will be unchecked by default. This is only meaningful is you're using schematics in the fix update when using rigid bodies or something like that. So anyways, after doing these changes, so we now have the input key, we have the control map, we need to tell the hero to use this control map. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so before going to the combatant and assign this control map, let's go to the status section and let's create an attack ability. So last time I created this enemy attack, which is again just a copy of the 3D action demo tutorial, and we left this default empty because it was a bug in the framework, not letting us save changes in the name. Now it's fixed in this release, so let's click this one, click edit text, and let's change the default to, we could call it hero attack. There we go. Now next let's click on the ability settings, and here in the ability type let's select default ability type and usable in both. Make sure this is selected. Next, jump into the use settings, and here I'm just going to tick the cancelable check. This can come handy when the hero is attacking and also the enemy is attacking at the same time. It can interrupt our action, our attack. So the next thing is in the target selection settings. Let's make sure that we have enemy in the target type, and in the target range we actually can change that to none. We can jump now into the target settings, and here in the target changes let's add target change. And in the target change section we have this add a status change. Click on that one to add one. The status that we are going to change, of course, is HP, so let's select the status value HP. We want to subtract from the HP, and let's say for each punch we are going to subtract 2 points. Okay, and that will be it. So let's save for now this one, and let's move on to the next section, which is the battle animation section. In the battle animation section, we have actually how we want this ability to animate. So this is basically this is where you call your animations to play when this ability is being cast or executed. And as well, we have this subsection here, damage dealer settings. So let's start by adding the add battle animation from here, not from the damage dealer settings, but from the battle animation settings. So add battle animation, and from here we need to create a new schematic. So if I go to the schematics I created before, I don't have it here. So let's save the changes in the settings, and let's jump into the schematics, and let's create our attack ability. So this is going to be really simple schematic. What we want to do is, first of all, activate our damage dealer, link the nodes up. We can leave all the settings as they are by default. So the next node is going to be a wait node, and this is where you normally will call your mechanic animation to play the ability action itself. So let's wait 1 second, and after waiting we can then call again activate damage dealer, link up the nodes, and in this case this the last active damage dealer, we are going to deactivate it, and we can leave the use action tags. Remember, we added this tag to the damage dealer. Of course, feel free to also add the box console here, just to make sure that you are entering this schematic properly. So let's save this. Let's go to our folder structure, and let's rename this one as attack ability schematic. Now that we have the schematic, we can go back to the status, hero attack, battle animation, and we can plug our schematic in the schematic asset. Save the changes. And before leaving the editor, collapse the battle animation. Now we can configure the damage dealer settings, and we want to do here is add a tag. The tag needs to be the same name as the name that we gave to the damage dealer. So fist tag, and down below we can click on add battle animation, and in this battle animation section what I'm going to link up is this damage dealer hit schematic that I created before. Let me open up so you can see it after I save the settings, but we can leave everything as it is. So let's save the changes, and let's take a look. So it is basically a call to the calculate action. This is the node that will calculate the damage that we need to apply to the enemy or the target, and after that we are just playing the damage sound type. Simple as that. So now that we have our attack ability and our control map, we can go to the combatants, select our hero combatant, in the base settings, scroll down, and let's assign the control map to the hero control map. Left, save the changes, Next, click on the attacks and abilities, scroll down, and where you see this override settings, expand that section, and here in base settings, own base attack, click on that one, and let's click on add base attack. So the base attack is going to use our hero attack ability. Save the changes again. And I believe we are done with ORK Framework Editor, so let's close it up. Now the next step is into our prefabs. In the skeleton prefabs, I fixed this issue we saw last time by changing here in the rigid body, and I'm going to freeze the rotation. Now in the field scene, so let's select the field scene and let's open up. We have our combatant spawner. This is where the skeleton is going to be spawned. Let's add via ORK Framework Machinum scene wizard. Let's add a new or create a game object of real-time battle area 3D, but I don't want it to be child of the combatant spawner, so I just move it up. And here we see the area that this battle area will take place, so we can increase it or decrease it as you please. I will just increase it 20 meters long, and let's make sure the spawn point still outside of this area, so we can see actually when the skeleton engage. Okay, and let's move it up a little bit. So now if we hit play, let's select the enemy game object, and let's find our combatant component, so we can see the health and also here in the battle information whether we are engaging in battle with it. Let me pick up the gamepad, sprint, and the flag in battle is not turning true, and I know why this is the reason for that. We still can deal damage, as you saw in the HP. It reduces the health of the skeleton, but let's fix the battle itself. So let's stop play mode and open up ORK Framework once again. So the reason why we are not engaging or starting the battle itself is because in the combatant general settings, in the battle settings subsection, if we scroll down, we have the auto start battles, and we need to check only leader, and we could also check the auto start battle, and let's leave the 2 meters as default, save the changes. But before leaving the editor, let's go to the move AI, and what I'm going to do here in the caution settings, I will remove this behavior altogether, and in the enemy detection, as we scroll down, we can see that we are using the type site for detection, but we are recasting using the layer mask in the default layer, and that's not right. Our hero player, if I select the prefab, you'll see that we are using the animal layer. So let's change this default layer to nothing first and then select animal. Okay, that way the skeleton actually will find us. Right, so let's save the changes and let's give it another try. So let's hit play. Sprint to the skeleton. Now he engage, and let's select the enemy game object. We are in battle. And if I start hitting him, you can see that the HP in the inspector is getting low. Of course, we are only causing damage when we use the right hand, but the concept applies also for the left and the foot. And if you want later on to use a sword for melee attacks as well. So that will wrap up this real-time integration. And the next video I'm going to cover turn-based type of battles using this animal controller as well. So thank you all for supporting the channel, and please subscribe and like the video if you actually learned something today, and see you on the next one.